About a month ago, I have to see an ad and it was for a figure painting contest. Normally, I definitely would just scroll past thinking like, man, there's no way I'm good enough for a contest. But after I saw the first place prize money, my mind completely changed. The grand prize was a whopping $1,500 and in my current severe financial situation, it felt like the only way out. So I decided to enter the contest and the rules were super simple. As you just had to keep up this subscription to Tanuki Studio and submit one of their finished models. I was looking through various models and decided to go to with Kratos from the God of War and starting printing. But then, the very next day, a new model got updated and I seriously couldn't take my eyes off of it. It was none other than the boss from Elden Malenia, whom I actually played the bit myself. A total of 41 pieces, 15 days of support setup, 18 days of printing time using 8 kilograms of resin, welding all the split parts together into one piece and taking another 18 days just for sanding. It took a whopping 26 days just to get the primer cotton and finally get ready for paint. Alright then, let's paint. First things first, I'm gonna start by painting her dress. The reason is I feel like the dress is what completely drives the main vibe and atmosphere of this entire model. To add a bit more context, she's the demigod who's lived for thousands of years, so you can't even guess her actual age. And since she's been surviving through long eras of curses and battles, her dress is so heavily faded that you can't even really describe what exact color it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna be super careful and cautious and laying down layers, making sure it doesn't get too dark, but also not too bright. On top of the base coat, I applied the darker brown wash to heavy up the tone and really pop the stains and close texture. And after dry brushing with the khaki, on top of that I expressed the highlights with the base and then added weathering using a wash again to finish it up. Or so I thought, but wait a minute. Looking closer at her dress in the game, once again I realized a bit too late that the top and bottom are actually separated and have a different colors. The raw body was actually a grayish skirt, so here is the collected paint job. I was in such a rush to fix the colors that I completely forgot to record it, but the method is exactly same as before. Sorry guys, I was just so starving. Alright, now that I've filled my stomach, let's keep on the painting. Oh, I have one quick announcement for you guys. The metallic parts I'm painting right now were also completely changed later on. And that's why I decided not to include the paint palette info in this video. It's because I modified the colors of almost every single part at least twice, so the amount of paints I ended up using is just too much and I feel like it's gonna cause quite a bit of confusion for you guys. If you need the color palette, just leave a comment and I will personally reply to you, or if a lot of people ask, I will organize it properly and upload it to my Patreon. Now that painting the most important part is done, let's move on to painting the most difficult part. At this time, there were seriously so many problems, and maybe because of the pressure of the contest, I just didn't feel confident about painting her slick leg, so I repainted and modified it over and over again. And even after changing the colors and changing the paint style, I still couldn't get the confidence, and so in the end, I decided to just trust my imagination. Actually, it's no big deal. In the game, her leg is made of armor that simply looks like a stone or bone. But if I just painted it smooth, it wouldn't blind in with the other surrounding parts at all. After endless worrying, I imagine that whether that leg is armor or her bare bones sticking out, since she has been battling for thousands of years, she must have tons of battle damage on it. So I expressed it as if the bone armor has cracks in it. How does it look? I really want to hear your honest opinions, so please don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in comments. I still have no confidence whether this was a great move or if I ended up ruining the contest because of this. When painting Malenia's armor, my thought process was like this. Of course, since she's a boss, a cool golden armor would be great, right? So I finished the painting in gold with all my effort. But after modifying the leg earlier, I changed my mind, thinking that her armor feels more appropriate as a faded brass rather than gold, so I repainted it. It rust metal shine, but instead it blends in so well with the other surrounding parts and the weathering marks look clearer. Wait, check this out. As you can see in the video, there was a slight issue with the hammer file. The chin guard part was hollow inside and wasn't connected properly, so the print comes out defective just like in the video. As always, I've personally fixed the file and I'm uploading it to my Patreon, so if you need it, use the link in the description to download it. Next up, it's time to paint her cape. I thought the cape would be pretty simple, but a much tougher process than expected was waiting for me. Actually, the cape came in 4 separate parts, so I did absolutely best to sew well all the parts together and especially sculpt along clothing texture to make it look like a single original piece. After that is the huge pattern on the cape. The thickness is about 1.5 milliliters and is made with a stitch by stitch texture, so masking it was absolutely impossible. So I painted it just like a master craftsman, stitching one by one. Of course, I should express weathering on the pattern too, but I thought of this like ancient king robes of Korea and decided to leave this pattern shining, sacred and bright. How does it look? The process was tough, but looking at the finished piece, I thought it turned out truly beautiful. Right after this, it's time to paint her hair, which is just as red as her cape. Since her hair is so voluminous, the color expression needs to be just as rich, so I'm gonna paint it using various colors. It's simple. After deciding the direction of the light on the model, paint the shadows over the base color, then the mid-tones, then finally paint the highlights on the top. Then you are done. This chain is the last part for painting the character figures excluding the base. It usually takes a few days to finish, but it's already taken over a week, so I'm really feeling the massive scale of this 60 by 40 piece. There's still a base that's as big as the character itself left to paint, so I'm gonna hurry up. Since the chain also needs a weathered look, if you cut a wash over the base cut and then dry brush the highlights on top, it's gonna be finished quick and easy. Alright, now it's finally time to paint the final boss base. Personally, I've always found painting nature a lot harder than painting human figures. The reason is that expressing those unique and rich colors found in nature is usually no easy task. Anyway, since I started, I'm gonna see through, right? The base consists of 16 parts in total, and just like before, I'm gonna weld all of them into a single piece. Let me share a quick little tip here. When you are curing clear parts, if you cure them while they are submerged in water like this, you can stop them from turning yellow. Wait, then why is yours so yellow? Well, like an idiot, I left it near the sunny window and it ended up turning like this. That's right. As expected, there were two major revisions during the base painting too. At first, I painted it like a super healthy living tree, but after looking closely at the tree, I realized it looked more like a dead withered tree, and changed my mind, and thinking that it would fit the Elden universe way better. Since the model is so massive and tall, it casts shadows everywhere, making it impossible to see or do any painting. I really didn't want to spend any money, but I quickly grabbed the $10 USB LED light. Now you guys can see everything, right? Thanks to the LED light, it's much easier to see the colors now. But is it just me, or does the tree look even healthier? In the case, I'm gonna change the colors and try again, right? I'm gonna express the outer surface of the dried up wood with gray and light brown, and then add a bit more highlights on top using light yellow. Finally, I'm gonna tone down the bright color a bit using a wash. Now I'm gonna paint the surrounding plants, and I used 5 different colors to express them. I expressed them using a base green, dark green, or green that blends the boundary between those two colors, and highlights green, and a green wash that creates moss and deeper shadows. When painting the white flowers, I used the glaze medium to let the center color spread naturally onto the petals. If you think glaze medium is a bit tricky to handle, you can get a similar effect using a simpler method with pastels. The base painting is almost done now. My hands are itching and I can't wait to assemble Malenia once she's fully painted. Since it's my first time making a figure on this scale, I'm already super excited for the sheer grandeur coming from its size. From here on is the ultimate gamble. Looking at the water effect part in the video, I thought the edges were way too sharp and the effect itself felt too weak compared to this massive and awesome diorama. For context, since science is a hobby of mine, I read and watch various science-related stuff every single day. And water having sharp edges like that is only possible in two scenarios. It's either contained in a mold of that shape or it's completely frozen. Especially when water lifts off the ground due to some force, gravity momentarily drops to zero, making a former spherical shape. But the real problem was whether I actually had a skill to pull that off. So I spent the day debating whether I should do this or not. And the biggest issue was that if I failed, I didn't have a single drop of resin left to try again. Because while printing this model, I ran out of the resin and I had to end up mixing all the clear resins I own just to barely finish the print. But as you can see in the video, I already took all those risks and went for it. Harnessing Earth's gravity and using 3 different viscosities of UV resin, here is the finished water part. What do you think? I'm so relieved that the results came out exactly as I intended and imagined. And the yellowed resin actually gives the looks more stagnant water, and when that water scatters it looks more transparent, which beautifully expresses the effect even from the scientific standpoint. Alright, now the only thing left is the actual assembly. So let's all get it together right here. DJ drop the beat, let's get it. Now that the build is finished, it's time to submit the build process and the final entry. And with that, my 41-day contest journey has officially come to an end. And maybe I bit off a bit more than I could chew with this model given my setup and skills, but every single moment was a challenge and I definitely gained so much experience and I grew through it. I gave it everything I had with zero regrets, so now it's out of my hands and up to the judges. But no matter how it turns out, one thing is for sure, I have a feeling I'm gonna do even better next time. It looks like the Tanuki contest happens every year, so why don't you guys join on the fun with me next year? Like the old saying goes, if you wanna go fast, go alone, but if you wanna go far, go together. I really hope more of my subscribers jump in with me next year. I ended up recording over 2 terabytes of footage, but I feel like less than 1/10 of it actually made it into this video. So I'm gonna edit together some bonus footage and be uploading it to my Patreon. Please let me know in comments what you thought about this 41-day contest journey. It really means the world to me. This was Mr. Kooraft, and I'll be back next time.